y'all. My name is Jasmine Jones, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. And you are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild. This little show I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. And today we are reviewing It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Season 17, Episode 1, The Gang Fucks Up Abbott Elementary. How you doing? So this is a second installment. And I'm sipping on Kahlua. Yes. How you doing? So this is a second installment of the It's Always Sunny cast and the Abbott Elementary cast get together, right? And so, it's very interesting to watch. Like I watched this on the first time, the first installment. And I had some interesting takeaways. I've watched up to 8 seasons of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And what I always say about that show is I truly believe wholeheartedly that it is a commentary on white supremacy and white culture. It is a satirical commentary on the narcissism and sociopathic like behaviors that white people can hold, and also the privileges that they receive and that they don't get away with, or that they do get away with in an everyday, capacity. I have to believe that, or else I would just be so upset that they got these people on the show that did blackface in the second season, and then they had to delete those episodes out of the second season or the third season or whatever season they did blackface in. The absolutely, they're not clueless. They're aware of what they're doing. They just don't give a fuck type of mentality of these folks on this show. And that's why I like to watch it, because it makes me less afraid of white people, because they are the entitlement, the sense of superiority. They are this dumb. It's just that they're in power. So it's like having a toddler be in power and have money and be in control of the entire world. And watching this show, you recognize these narcissistic type behaviors. And don't get me wrong, because especially after reading this book with this woman that has been diagnosed with sociopathy, and she was able to recognize that she had it at a very young age. She didn't know what it was called at that time, but she knew that something was off, and then work her way through life trying to figure out how to be in a more stable place with her emotional disposition and how she interacts with other people. It makes me realize that if people really want to work on their shit, whether they're diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder or antisocial personality disorder, they will do it. They will do the work to get better and to be able to be out in the world and accept themselves and accept other people and learn how to interact in the world with other people. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, narcissists all are evil or horrible people, but, and I'm calling some of these people on Always Sunny narcissists, because you got 17 seasons. We've seen enough of their background, their biopsychosocial situation to be able to diagnose something. And they're not real people. They're characters that people are playing. So I'm going to do what I'm going to do, right? But in watching this, and this goes all the way back to what I was saying, because I like to explain it every time I say that, because I don't, it sounds like I'm grouping white people together. They're all evil. No, it's a cultural issue, because it started when Rome tried to take over Europe. Then the Crusades happened when they tried to take over all of the Muslim countries. Colonialism happened, and they tried to take over all the world. And don't forget, England trying to suck up Scotland and Ireland and shit. So they did it to themselves first. Let's start there. Racism is a construct based off of self-hatred. I don't like myself. I need something to project it on, so I'm projecting it on racism. That's why they can so casually just, that black kid over there, and just randomly say, and them Arabs, and da-da-da, and then just randomly say discriminatory racist shit, because they don't recognize these people as people. It is what it is, because they're so caught up in their own inner turmoils that they don't know how to, interact with the world and have empathy or care for others, because they're so hyper focused on their own inner turmoils. And also there may be some, physiological reasons within the brain to say that they're in the empathy center of the brain to say that they're, it could be a physiological thing as well. And so, when you are teaching your people to that they are the rulers of the world through devastation and stealing, what happens is epigenetic trauma starts to come to play. And that is when someone is pregnant and they are being traumatized during the pregnancy, they have high levels of cortisol. And because they have high levels of cortisol, the baby then has high levels of cortisol and is born with high levels of cortisol. That's the stress hormone that pops up in fight, flight, or freeze and things like that. And so the baby, if they're born into a chaotic environment, is more susceptible to developing mental health disorders and so on and so forth. But if they're born into a calm environment, a peaceful environment, then they are less likely to develop mental health disorders and the levels of cortisol will decrease. So you can reverse it. But hundreds of years of white people raping and pillaging the world and letting your children be a part of that, letting them watch these things and being brainwashed into these things and things like that is going to develop a people who culturally, because culture is ingrained in you subconsciously. It's in the way that you move, you talk, the food you eat, the thing. It's just all around you consciously and subconsciously. So it's just in you. And as a knee-jerk, and I always ask this question of people that are not white. Have you ever in your life had a white friend that never did a microaggression? Not even just once. I've never had that. I've never had a person that wasn't black not do a microaggression, but I'm sure there's some out there. So that's how ingrained it is, from the smallest unsuspecting microaggression to the more obvious, raping and pillaging and colonizing and genociding. It's a spectrum that is on a spectrum of manipulation and abuse, and it's within their people, just like misogynoir is within black folks, and we have to work through it. Being a pick-me and a strong black woman is inside of black women, and we have to work through it. And I'm sure other races, like the machismo shit in the Latino community, I've had enough Latina clients come to me and tell me how they were traumatized by that. So there's enough that we all got some shit within each community, but it's the community that is controlling the world where the shit is the problem. Because each community can separately work on their own shit and heal, but when you have the blanket of white supremacy also covering the shit that is within our own community and intermingling with that, it's hard for each community to work through our own shit when the ruling group is telling us that we need to be hating ourselves and loving their Eurocentric features and whatever. So when I watch this show, that's what I think about. I just be like, I learned shit. I learned that this is how white people move. This is literally like the things that I've seen as far as my white clients and just being around white people. This is how they interact with each other. These some situations are extreme, but like this is like this cluelessness is moving through the world, not recognizing how they're affecting other people, this lack of sense of self. A good chunk of white folks move through the world like this, and then the ones that don't, either they figure it out but there's still little microaggressions here and there, or they go to this extreme other side where they have this weird ass white guilt where they're always thinking about it and they always have to bring it up and they always have to be the one to call out racism and be loud and weird and overcompensating, and then it makes everybody uncomfortable. Like, you just have to love yourself and forgive yourself and treat people like human beings. That's all we want. You don't need to overcompensate and do extra shit. It's fucking weird. It's just as weird as the overtly racist people. Just if you either gonna just be overtly racist or be chill, like pick a lane. So you see these narcissistic behaviors, like in Frank. Frank is sloth. He is this gross and disgusting and sleeping in sewers and as dirt and pissing in the lockers, and that's just who Danny DeVito's character is in this show. And I looked up some stuff about what people are saying as far as, like, and I'll put in a little picture too, the different types of narcissistic behaviors that these characters show. And since I've only watched 8 seasons of the show, I had to look up some stuff because I don't know every lore of this motherfucking show. I literally leave this shit on as background noise while I'm reading a book or playing a video game. Or sometimes I leave it on to go to sleep just because it's just like watching The Simpsons. It's just stupid shit. But anyways, Frank exhibits a type of narcissism that is primarily driven by pure impulse and hedonistic desires. He shows little regard for social norms or well-being of others, often engaging in depraved and manipulative acts for his own pleasure and benefits. Depraved, manipulative acts focus on hedonism and desires, fulfilling whatever desire that pops into his head at the moment. And usually, I'm not saying they couldn't have like some other stuff like ADHD, lack of focus type shit, but a lot of times, especially with abusers, they tend to hop from one thing to the next because it's hard for them to sit still with themselves. It's hard for them to sit still with themselves and with the shit that they've done and the thoughts that start to come up and percolate in their mind when it gets too quiet, when they get too isolated. And so Frank, he probably done did a lot of shit, y'all. And so it's not surprising that he just jumps from one plan to the next. We pulling the copper out the wall. Then we getting the little 12-year-old to sing, the Boys to Men song that he shouldn't have been singing. I really truly just feel like the children should have just stayed in the background and not said nothing. Because you got one child, this weird ass scene where like they follow him into the bathroom because they want him as a basketball player for their team at their predominantly white school, but it looks like something else that's horrible and disgusting. And you got this other scene where they trying to like audition the children for this boy band, and then the little boy is singing "I'll Make Love to You," and he's all of 12. He looks all of 12, and I'm just like. And then they start talking about how the bad boy like offsets the sexual, whatever in the group. And I'm just like, the baby just standing there like, right. I just didn't want the children to be a part of it. But I guess they had to make it risque. But like, why does risque have to mean like sexual innuendos with children? Like, right. But, they're the worst versions of white folks, So it makes sense, I guess, in a way. I still feel like they could have did that another way. But anyways, so Frank is just like overtly narcissistically gross. And like we see that as a representation of the worst of white folks, because who went on Twitter X, whatever the fuck it's called, and made threads after threads after threads about how they didn't wash their legs, how they use the pool in the summertime to bathe their kids, how they take baths maybe once or twice a month or some shit, like it's normal, like it's okay, like that's hygiene. That's what you're not supposed to exfoliate and clean yourself. How I seen one where it was like they shit when they in the shower, and if they still got to take a shit, they shit in the shower and then like stump it down the drain. Jesus Lord God. The not washing of your hands after you use the bathroom, like shit like that just feels so, I feel so superior. Even physiologically, I feel superior to people. I have no sense of dirt on my body. And y'all just got to deal with it. And so like, I feel like that's what Frank represents, the grossest part of white people. Dennis is just pure narcissist, just pure maybe even sociopathic narcissist, because apparently, according to Wikipedia, there have been hints of him being potentially a rapist and potentially a serial killer in various episodes throughout the series. And so maybe also a sociopathic narcissist. But yeah, no, he doesn't care about anybody else but himself and his own success and whoever he has to step on to get it. I find it interesting that he kept telling D not to be messing with the not to cause issues and make waves and mess with the reality TV show camera people, but you over here making coffee, trying to sell coffee. You over here trying to make a boy band with the children, and then you over here, but you're doing it too. And you're telling her not to. See the gaslighting of this woman and this group of white men. But that's what D is. D is a Karen. She is a full Karen, a racist white woman, and that's all that Karen means. It doesn't mean anything in anything else. It's the white women that refuse to take accountability for that type of behavior, that wanted to Columbus that phrase and then spread it out to mean anybody. If you a black bitch in the middle of Walmart screaming, you a Karen. No, love. If that's you and your people, that's you and your, we'll handle ours. We'll handle ours. We'll figure ours out. We'll call ours something else. But you and your people are the Karens, love. That's you and yours. And you need to take accountability for that and talk to your people and figure out why there are extremities in your people's behaviors that cause them to act certain ways that can get other people killed. How about that? How about you take accountability for your people and talk to your people and figure it out, instead of trying to find every other version of Karen that isn't a white woman that's racist? How about that, love? Yeah, but so that's what she is. She feels entitled. She feels superior, but she's also one of those white women that feel inferior to the white men that are surrounding her, because a lot of white women are made to feel less than when it comes to white men. But then because they feel like they're superior to everyone else, then we have those Karen bitches running around feeling like they can treat anyone else this and that type of way, because they need somewhere to project the abuse and the insecurities that they're experiencing from these white men. They need someone to project that on, and so that's what they do. And she is surrounded by these white men that make fun of her, that put her down, that make her feel shitty and everything like that. But instead of saying, fuck you guys, I'm gonna go do my own thing and live my own life and love myself and leave y'all to the mess that you have created for yourselves, she is trying to prove a point. At every single turn, she's trying to prove that she's better. She's better than everyone around her. She was trying to prove to the camera people that she was more interesting than Janine, and she was gonna make this whole drama with Janine's nigga, and Janine nigga ain't even looking at her, because why would, and over here pissing Janine off. And it's interesting too, the dynamics between how the actors interacted with each other in the Abbott Elementary version versus how the actors interact with each other in the It's Always Sunny version. So basically, they in the Abbott Elementary version, they are interacting with each other. They're talking to each other, and then the teachers are just slowly over time realizing that these white folks got some shit going on. Let's step back from them, right? And so in the It's Always Sunny version, this is after the teachers just stepped back and started observing these people and realizing that they got some shit going on. And so they just basically become background characters and shit, observing, and this is how the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia show is, though. Everyone else are just props. They're just, they're just extras and shit. They're just there to service these people, because that's how these folks view the world. That's how these white folks view the world. So we're viewing the world through their eyes, and in their eyes, they are the main characters. And everyone else is just tools for them to move around and adjust, because they never get in any real long-term trouble or anything like that, right? And so, it's interesting to just watch the Abbott Elementary characters just become the audience. They're just watching these motherfuckers act crazy. And they kind of did in the last one, but this one, it was really like they were the audience. And, they would use them and move them around as props and things. But that's how Sunny in Philadelphia is. It's really highlighting that this is how narcissistic white people view the fucking world. And that's why I like that show. People be like, oh, they be fucked up to black people, and no, this is a satire. It has to be. I can't just be liking this show because it not be satire. That's how I view it as. That's what makes me less scared of white people, because they are this stupid. The only reason you get scared is because they got money and power. If they didn't have money and power, you would be looking at them just like the Abbott Elementary motherfuckers is looking at the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia motherfuckers. Look at these stupid ass white people just acting. This is a show, But no, so Deidre, whatever her name is, she's a Karen, and she doesn't like herself, and she's always trying to prove herself consciously and subconsciously to the white men surrounding her. Instead of just leaving that situation and never looking back. And then Charlie, oh God, I feel like Charlie is the lackey henchman, but he also has like obsessive qualities. Some people think that he's more borderline than anything else because he has abandonment issues, and then when he gets hyper fixated on his obsessions, like the bartender that he was hyper fixated on, and she didn't like him, she didn't pay him no mind, and he became basically a stalker, and he was weird and creepy and gross and stuff. Yeah, he gets fixated on them, and then crashes out when he can't have them. And so like he doesn't care how he affects the objects of his affections. He just wants them. And so it doesn't matter if he's hurting their feelings, if he's like if they're scared of him, like he becomes fixated. But outside of that, I feel like he might have some type of delay or learning disability or some shit, and he's gullible and he's easily manipulated by the people around him. It doesn't seem like he wants attention per se. Like he has no empathy or care for people. I think he loses empathy and care when he becomes obsessed with things and people. And he doesn't care how he affects them. He just wants them, and that's all that he's focused on. But outside of that, like when he's not, hyper fixated, like obsessed with something or someone, they just using and taking advantage of this motherfucker. And I think he might be a little delayed. And like, in the Abbott Elementary version, they was teaching him how to read and shit. Like, so, like, what part of white society is that? I think it's the kiss assers, the ones that want to be so much a part of white supremacy, but they're not like horribly malicious people that will step on anyone to get what they want, but they're people pleasers. Charlie's a people pleaser too. He wants to be seen, he wants to be loved, he wants to be cared for by these people that are not capable of doing that. They make fun of him, they make him feel bad. Like, they only show up for each other in emergencies, and they still talk shit to each other throughout the emergency. So like, I feel like that's a part of white supremacy too. Like, think of like the corporate culture when you're at work, and how like, they want you to be close to each other and be like family and stuff like that, but you can't talk to each other about how much you get paid. You can't talk to, and like a lot of people don't like each other and they talking shit about each other. But as soon as an emergency happens or something big happens where you need to be telling on people, talking to HR and shit like that, everybody wants to come together and be like, no, you can't. No, we can't. No. What do you mean? And that's toxic. You can't be around people that only show up in emergencies, and then half the time they only showing up so they don't get in trouble or some shit like that. You got to be around people that consistently show up in a positive way. Ooh, but yeah, I think Charlie's just, he got some kind of delay, a developmental disorder. They take advantage of him, and he might have some slight borderline tendencies. I won't say full on borderline, but some borderline tendencies where he gets obsessed with people, and he gets codependent and attached on people, and he don't care about how he affects them, and he can low key kill a bitch one day. Who knows? He's around some killers. He could kill a bitch. I'm still not sure if this nigga Dennis done killed somebody. I don't know. Who knows? Do y'all know? So we got them at the school, and they're just doing like these stupid hijinks and shit that like we got Danny DeVito character Frank. He over here trying to get the copper out the wall, and then trying to scare the janitor off by releasing a raccoon. And I thought it was interesting because we're around black people and we're releasing raccoons, and coon is a I just have to say it when it's in my head. I know, like, why you always know this? Because I do. And if I don't say it, it's going to bother me. It's going to be like this tingling that gets bigger and bigger until it comes out my mouth. So I have to control how it comes out, or it's going to come out in a way that's even worse than the way it came out just now. There you go. And just random stuff. And then Dennis makes this coffee machine. I mean, the coffee machine was the only thing they get. Oh, I forgot Mac, y'all, nigga. Mac is so caught up in having a low self-esteem and trying to prove himself. Like, he will get attached to ideas that seem righteous, but if you don't do it in the way he wants you to do it, then that's when that shit comes out. That controlling shit, that kind of narcissistic. Like, let me see what they said about him. Because he tries to act normal. He tries to act like he's the normalest of them all, but no, he's not. He's a covert narcissist. He's underhanded. So Max struggles with deep-seated insecurities about his masculinity and sexuality, which often manifests as narcissistic behaviors. He seeks validation from those around him, especially from Dennis and his absent father, and can be controlling and hypocritical in those situations. So I would lean into the narcissistic behaviors. Like, I feel like Dennis is a full narcissist. It is what it is. But I feel like Mac has narcissistic behaviors because he doesn't like himself. So he leans into these, hypocritical behaviors, these childish behaviors that's trying to control and make people do what he wants to do. But at the end of the day, I think he's a people pleaser. Because look at what Ava did. She had him in there steaming her clothes and doing because he don't like himself. So a bitch that know how to run over a nigga that don't like themselves, it's easy. It's not that hard. You just have to not give a fuck, and you have to not let whatever they say bother you. And then you get some bass in your voice and you tell them what the fuck to do and they'll do it. So he's a people pleaser. He don't like himself, and also he has narcissistic tendencies when he's trying to prove himself or be in control or whatever. He's the one that will get you through the front door. So in the last review, I was talking about Opus, right? And about how you got different layers of white folks. You got the white folks that because white people are clueless, or they act clueless to their cultural issues, right? And so that's why they're always surprised. That's why they're always surprised when they find out their next door neighbor was a serial killer, even though we know that statistically most serial killers are white and things like that. They're always surprised and shit like that when they find out this stuff about other white people that they may have been next to or kind of sort of knew, and all this other stuff. And so you got the white folks that will get you through the door because they either don't know or they're in denial about how deep the issue is with the other white folks they about to bring you to. So you got the clueless white person that's just like, oh no, things are cool. I'm normal. I'm regular. I talk regular and act regular and da da da. I see you as a human fucking being and shit. That's who Mac is, He seems like the regular motherfucking type. And then he gets you through the door to meet the rest of these motherfuckers, and then he joins them, and then you see that you're in Get Out. And you're like, what happened? I just came to meet your family for dinner. You dating this motherfucker. I just came to meet your family and have dinner, and now I'm getting my brain cut out. Girl. That's why I'm cautious with every white person. You have to show me a good chunk of self-awareness. Just like I'm cautious with men, though. Like, it's the same thing. I was talking to this client today. I was talking about how groups of people that have shown patterns of harm to others, especially groups of people that have in large amounts been in denial about the patterns within their own cultures or their own group of people, are dangerous fucking people. And so I have a built-in alarm system in the back of my mind now for whenever I see those types of behaviors. And that alarm system is always there for white people, for men in particular, because those two groups of people are harmful to me, or have been shown to be harmful to me in large numbers. Because they act like they're not aware of their group's issues and stuff. And the ones that act like they're not aware are the most dangerous. And so the alarm don't go off unless you do something to make the alarm go off, love. The alarm ain't always on and I'm just treating you based off of these stereotypes and things like that. No, I'm treating you like a regular human being. But just know that I clock these weird ass behaviors. You're using AAVE. You're using AAVE that I just said, and now you're saying it back to me. Now, every behavior is not going to be like, oh, I'm going to cut you off. You're fucking weird. No. But it's going to let me know how much work I have to put in to maintain this friendship, this acquaintanceship. And it lets me know if I want to put in work to maintain this friendship or acquaintanceship. And sometimes I do. Like, it is what it is. Like, I have white clients and they just need help and they're regular ass people and things like that. Do they occasionally maybe do microaggressions? Sometimes, not all the time. But like, we're in a therapeutic setting. So we talk through it, we work through it. And I've had a few white clients figure themselves out and realize the things that they've been doing up unconsciously, subconsciously, or whatever, and be like, okay, I need to be more self-aware and treat people like human beings and stuff a little bit more than I already am. And I'll be like, yeah, girl, yeah, nigga, like, yeah, like, it is what it is. We gotta work that. Like, I had to work the pick me out of myself. Why the fuck you think you don't have to work the white supremacy out of yourself? Like, I had to work the strong black woman out of myself. Why you think you don't need to work out the superiority complex out of yourself? I don't get it. Like, we all need to be self-aware of our flaws and of our, you know, good things and our positives and our flaws. We all need to be self-aware because they're going to come up throughout our lives no matter how much we work on it. And we need to be ready and showing up for ourselves whenever it happens, so we don't end up doing some shit that ends up hurting somebody or ends us up in jail. And so, you know, it is what it is. So I like to be aware of these things as I'm interacting with groups of people, with somebody from a group of people that are known to harm people that look like me. And so it makes it easier to move through the world because I'm not always like scared or anxious or, oh, they're going to do. I don't have any expectations when I meet new people. I have no expectations for you. I have expectations for people that I choose to invite into my life, but I have no expectations for you as a stranger, but to show me who you are, and I'll see how it goes from there. And just like you should have no expectations for me as a stranger, but just to see how I am and then see how it goes from there. I might be a decent person and we show up for each other and we end up, you know, caring about each other, and you're a decent person and we end up becoming friends. Or we may not mesh. I might not be your type of decent. You may not be my type of decent. And so we don't mesh, and so we don't end up becoming friends. It is what it is. I have no expectations for strangers. I just see how you show up, and then based on how you show up, that's when I start to decide, do I pull you into my you know, circle, and then start applying expectations to you based on the positive behaviors you've been showing me, or do I not? The door is closed, honey. The behaviors you show me have already told me that you will not live up to any of the expectations that I have for people that I pull into my circle. So I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, I don't see anything wrong with having an alarm system for toxic behaviors from specifically for people from groups that are harmful to me. Another thing that I thought was interesting about this episode is, so they're like all sitting around this table, and so they get into their head. I think it was Charlie, or maybe it was Mac. It was one of them white folks. I think it was Charlie. It was 9/11. And they're upset about 9/11. Now the kids don't know nothing about 9/11, and now they want to do like a little boy band, but they couldn't get the kids together because it was weird. And so then they decided to get the teachers to do like a little song about 9/11 or some stupid shit. I found it interesting because they highlighted that they sat there for hours talking about 9/11 and then going into conspiracy theories until school was over, and they were still sitting there talking about that shit. And it just made me realize how much white people need to struggle. I'm not saying 9/11 didn't happen. I'm not saying that it wasn't a bad thing and it was horrible and people lost their lives. But the fact that you're sitting up there and then you're saying, oh, well, see, people overlook Pearl Harbor and now all the cars are Japanese. Like, we know what you're doing. We know what you're doing, love. Like, you need to struggle. White folks need to struggle. They need something to take their mind off of their own inner struggle. So that's why, like I said earlier, how they're jumping from thing to thing to thing. They can't sit still. Some of that could be ADHD. Who knows? And then, you know, now they want to do 9/11 and talk about it and the struggle and what we went through and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, it's just It's like them niggas that want to do like extreme sports and like bungee jumping and skydiving, but not in like, oh, it's a fun thing to do, but more so like in, this is what I do to feel alive. Why you gotta be close to death to feel alive? Why can't you just, I could take a nap and feel alive. I could sit and watch a sad movie and cry and let all that shit that's been pent up inside of me out. And then I feel alive after that. I don't need to be close to death to feel alive. So when they make those statements like that, when they do shit like that, and then like you have those extreme sports people where it seems like it's almost like an addiction. You've met them extreme sports niggas. I bike in the woods every Sunday and I mountain climb and it's like they're doing 15 different extreme sports every fucking week. And you're just like, you don't ever want to see. When I see niggas like that on the dating apps, I swipe left immediately. I just be like, because I like to take naps and I like to be in the house sometimes, and I'm not gonna have you up in here making me feel like I'm lazy, because sometimes I can be a homebody and don't want to leave the house for like a couple days. And you up here talking about, I like to go camping and hiking and snowboarding and shit every weekend. Like, oh, that's nice for you. Swipe left. Like, but they're not all like, I know they're not all like that. I don't swipe left on all them niggas that be taking pictures with mountain bikes and shit, love. But the one, you know, the ones that give off the energy of, I do this shit every fucking week, every day if I could. I go out there and I surf once a day when the waves are up, and especially during the summertime, and I want you to do that with me. And if you don't do that with me, it'll hurt my feelings. That's the ones I don't like. Why I gotta do that shit with you? Like, you can do that shit. Like, why can't I just trust you to do that shit and not get your feelings hurt that I don't want to do that shit all the time? Maybe sometimes, say, I'll go out there and I'll put my feet in the water and watch you surf. Like, I don't want to surf. I don't, the ocean is scary. I teach you how to be not afraid of the ocean. I don't want you to teach me how, but the ocean is scary. I'm stuck in my ways, love. You just gonna have to, I can watch you. I'm gonna be like Hank Hill when Peggy Hill went skydiving. I'm gonna be Hank Hill standing right there at the bottom watching, being like, oh, why her chute ain't open? And then she slammed down into that motherfucking ground. Like, I'm gonna be Hank Hill, and he was just standing there, and she just slammed into the ground. And then of course she lives, because you know we have to keep the show going. But she's like paralyzed, and then Cotton teaches her how to walk again by being emotionally abusive. And I just feel like you don't need to teach people by traumatizing them. But whatever, girl, go off, sis. And so like, that's not me. But you know, like, I feel like it's okay to know what I like and what I don't like and shit, love. And so like, having that little buzzer in the back of my head, ain't nothing wrong with that. You a stranger. Why do I have expectations for somebody I have absolutely, you have lived a whole life so far. I want to see what you done lived. What you done lived and what has it taught you so far before I, you know, decide to go forward another step with you. What's been going on with you, you know? And so I feel like it's fair to keep that small bit of detachment when you're interacting with strangers. But no, white people need a struggle. They need a struggle. They need something to make them feel. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I don't know why I went back to the other thing. I think the thing is kicking in. This is the second time I'm recording, because the first time I turned the camera off too fast before I stopped recording, and it deleted the video, and just upset. Just the devil. No, they need to be close. They need to be close to, you know, struggles, because they feel they don't struggle like people of color struggle. It's not an everyday thing. And because human beings need this sense of community and shit like that, and when you breed superiority into a group of people and needing to be a part of everything and leading everything into a group of people, you got that sense of need for community and that need to lead the community, and the community doesn't want to be led by you, so now you're just being fucked up and evil to the community. And so now you want everything the community has so you can feel like you're a part of the community that is keeping you out of it. Instead of just like working on your own community and figuring out your own community and figuring out the narcissism and sociopathy traits that have been bred into your community from all the destruction that you've done in the world, you have decided that I'm going to focus on this thing to distract me instead of like working on myself and my communities. And then this white bitch gonna sit up here and start talking shit about Janine, and Janine got to cuss because it's Always Sunny on Philadelphia and shit, instead of Abbott Elementary where they don't be getting the cuss like that. She was like, that bitch is she's a fucking cunt. And then Gregory just looking at her like, I thought you were gonna call her a bitch. And she was like, no, there are very fine female dogs and she is not one of them. Like, or some shit. I was like, okay, girl. And then I was like, and then this white bitch gonna say, oh, and I fought her and I beat her ass. And Janine was like, I never fought this bitch. And then she socked the fucking the locker and put a dent in it. And I was like, y'all know that's right, bitch. No, because if they were to fight, I truly believe Janine would beat her ass because she's from the hood. She grew up poor. She's from the hood. She's just a nerdy bitch that grew up in the hood. And I don't fuck with hood bitches because I grew up in the hood. That trauma that lives deep in our souls, like, it don't matter if you nerdy. Like, you turn that switch on, we turn into a fucking whirlwind. She'll turn into a little whirlwind and beat that white bitch ass, throw her a fucking across the room. So, like, I really feel like Janine would have beat her fucking ass. No, don't sleep on hood bitches. Them bitches is crazy. Very nice people though, just very traumatized. And you know, even the nerdy ones, they'll beat your fucking ass. They'll snap, something will shut off, and they will drag you by your brown roots and rip that shit out your head, love. Like, don't fuck with Janine, girl. She from the hood. She, you know, they be overlooking the nerdy ones too, especially. Even if you're from the hood, they'll be overlooking the nerdy ones. Don't overlook the nerdy hood bitches. They're crazy too. Very nice people though. Very nice people. You know, just don't make fun of them. Don't talk shit. Just mind your business. Like, I have hood friends and shit. They're very nice, loving people, caring people, but been severely traumatized and will black the fuck out and start stomping your mouth into the back of your skull. So I try to be nice to everybody. You know, I try to be nice as possible unless they start some shit. Then it's like, damn it. Fuck. That's why I don't want to fight, because just like Janine put a dent in that fucking locker because she lost control, girl, I don't know what's going to happen if I lose control. I truly feel like all this pent up trauma inside of me, I'll black out and I will either end up dead, severely hurt, or I'm going to end up in jail because I'm not going to stop. So you gonna have to knock me out or kill me. I'm not gonna stop. It's gonna be a whirlwind. Some shit gonna turn on that needs to come out of me, and it's gonna be all over. Girl, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you and shit. So Ava's like the narrator of this shit. So she in the background there watching the video from the folks and narrating all this shit. And I'm just like, I know that's right, girl. You better narrate. Got back there as her little worker maid and shit. I was just like, I know that's right. Reparations, bitch. You better get him to work, bitch. Like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck that nigga. No, you need to watch It's Always Sunny. It will teach you some shit about white people, because the shit I will see on that show is the same shit I see white people doing in real life. Same exact shit, and that they get away with. And the thing is, it's fucked up because, like, they are really showing how they get away with shit. And they just be sitting up there just, like, doing the most fucked up shit to people. Illegal shit. Mentioning that this nigga might be a serial killer. All this other stuff. And that's why it take them 20, 30 years to be finding these white serial killers, because they don't want to believe it's the next door. I didn't want to believe it was my uncle. Like, I know, girl. There's a mental block there in believing the statistics of your people being, you know, inundated with sociopathy and narcissistic traits because of the power and control that you have put the world in since, you know, Rome tried to take over Europe. Like, no, like, you got to put some science and some history into this shit, because you're not going to come up on here and be like, you're just being racist to white. You can't be racist to white people. I don't control the system. They control the system. They can come and just take all your money out the bank and shit just because you black. That's racism. And you can't, I'm not anti-white. I'm telling the fucking truth. Like, I didn't say all these motherfuckers is like this. I'm saying that it's a cultural issue, and a lot of them have these superiority traits. And and I was looking at Danny DeVito because obviously I saw like memes and like TikToks of him on a Matilda set and how he was nice to them little children and shit like that. And then I was just like, so why we got this little child enacting, hinting at being molested? Like why we got this little 12-year-old singing "I'll make love to you"? I know it shouldn't be a big deal, but I'm tired. These are children. I don't care. I didn't like it. It bothered me. I don't care. That child was all of 12, and I know I used to sing "I'll make love to you" when I was 12 too, but like seeing it on the television, knowing and on the show that it's on, and like it just adds to it. It just adds to the bullshit. But no, like, so basically they end up at the end of the show, their little tenure is over, and they take them back to the bar and to give them free drinks and shit, but they don't have anything to drink for them. And then they give them a latte machine or whatever the fuck because their coffee machine was dirty or something. And while they're doing all that, Danny DeVito is still in the copper out their bathroom. He's gonna sell it. This man is rich. I don't know, maybe at some point between season 8 and 17 he becomes not rich, but I haven't read that anywhere. So and even all the way up till season 8 he was still rich and doing stupid shit that didn't make sense just because he wanted to do hood rat shit and get away with it, and it was gross. The grossest things this man put himself through, and I'm just like, Danny, what is it, Danny? Like, what do we do? This is why I have to believe this is satire and this is a representation of white culture, and they're trying to tell you something. And you better pay attention to it, because these people are trying to tell you what people are actually like and how they don't give a fuck. And y'all need to stop giving leeway to they people like that when you see some fuck shit. That's what they trying to tell you. And that's why I watch this show, because everything they've done on this show in some smaller fashion I've seen in real life. I've seen the lack of care for others, the walking over others, the doing criminal shit, and just automatically thinking you're going to get away with it, which they do sometimes. The lack of care for people that give them the privilege, because privilege, like I've said in other videos, is how other people view you. It's not how you view yourself, love. So they're viewing you as these people that look like them and talk like them and act like them, and if you have an extra label of being like famous or rich or some shit, that makes it even better. And so that's why they're treating you that way. That's why they're giving you leeway and not following you around the store and all this other stuff. They're going based off of stereotypes, based off your skin color and shit like that. And that's what privilege is. Privilege is not how you grew up or how you see yourself and da 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 da. Now, it can be slightly like, you got two black families and one family grew up with a little bit more money, so they have a little bit more access to things. But I think that's more of the word access rather than privilege, because now I have more access to things that you may not have had. But privilege is more so the access that is given to me based off of what other people see in me, based off of their own stereotypes and lived experiences. I think that's more access than privilege. Like, oh, you're privileged because you went to college and shit. Like, yeah, but it was hard as fuck and it wasn't easy and shit. Like, I had access to be able to do that in a way that you didn't. And so I can acknowledge that I had access to do that and that you didn't have that access. But let's figure it out now. Shit, let's, like what you've been doing to obtain that access. Let's work together to figure it out, instead of not acknowledging that I had that access and then being a dick to that person and shit, versus privilege is I walk into the store, a white person walk into the store, and they following the white person around the store, or they follow me around the store and letting the white person do what they want. And the white person is stealing and I'm not stealing, but you following me, not clocking the white person that's stealing. That's privilege. You get to walk around the store and steal and not have this person off top as soon as you walk through the door think that you're going to steal. That's a privilege. That's a privilege that was given to you by somebody else and how they viewed you. And so that's what they're showing in this show, and you can tell because like how people view Trump is what made him president. It doesn't matter that the facts said that he was a criminal and had a 11 felonies and shit, and he was on Epstein Island and shit. Nobody gave a shit about the facts, love. Them white folks, the majority of white folks that voted for this man only saw his white skin and his fake ass promises, and that's all they needed. When you are raised in an abusive state, you are going to be trained to believe the abuser. And that is what white people have bred into their culture. It's not that they're not human. It's not that they don't have humanity. It's that they've bred the humanity out of their culture. And that's why it's hard for people to see the humanity in the majority of white folks, because you've literally, the most powerfulest ones of you have literally worked day and night to breed humanity out of your culture, humanity and being self-aware, humanity and seeing other people as human beings and shit like that, and humanity and seeing yourself as human and not superior to other people. You bred that out of your fucking culture. You're every day you work at breeding it out of your culture, and it's the few white people that have not had that completely bred out of their culture that act normal and treat people like human fucking beings and treat themselves like human beings, while still occasionally doing a microaggression, because culture is eternal and it's a knee-jerk reaction. And then when they're told about it, the decent ones will be like, oh shit, and then they learn to be more self-aware because they were told about it, they took accountability for it, and they learned a lesson, and they are less likely to do it again, or at least not do it again for a very long time. But yeah, I just feel like this show shows all of that. If you really read in between the lines and watching this show, you will see that it shows all of that, even through the blackface and all the other stuff. Like, you can't watch stuff at face value. You got to read between the lines and not make up shit. Because the thing is that the things that they're doing is so outlandish, you can't help but read between the lines, because they're not doing these things as if this is good stuff that they're doing. Like, if you watch The Simpsons and you see Homer doing some stupid shit, right? But at the end of every episode, they always come together as a family and they learn some shit from the stupid shit, and it's all hunky-dory and shit, not every episode, but a good portion of episodes. But this shit, no, never. They don't ever learn anything. They have bare minimum consequences, which is a representation of white people in the world. And how they're treated and how they treat each other. Excuse me. And like it just every episode is like that. Every episode is they're just doing some outlandish shit that is not okay, and everybody standing around them, they can see that they got some shit going on, but no one else can see it. And that's why the show's lasted so long. And I think it plays, and I don't think white people, when they watch this show, get it. I think that they are playing off of white people's need for superiority. And like, so when a lot of white people watch this show, they just think it's funny. They just think, oh, this is hilarious. And no, honey, that's a representation of your uncle. And they probably get it to a certain extent with the less outlandish shit, but they don't get it to the full extent. Or maybe they do, and they've normalized it so much, because I know plenty of white folks with like older people in their family, like Frank's character, that be doing nasty shit like that, and they just be like, yeah, Uncle Bob, like, he used to swim in the swamp and then come in the house and just lay out, and he didn't take a bath after. And they just say it jovially. Like all the white people that were laughing and giggling about not washing their legs until a bunch of black people came on them threads and started looking at them like they were crazy. Because they didn't know that was unhygienic. Like, so maybe they girl, I hope this is satire. I really believe it needs to be satire. I think it is. I really hope they're not sitting up here like, oh, this is normal white. No, because it's the outlandishness, the extremity of these behaviors tell me that it's satire, that they are making fun of their own people and they're showing everybody else who their people are, so you can stop making excuses for their people and actually stand your ground and set boundaries and fight the fuck back like you're supposed to. Like, oh, Jim Bob is just, no, he's not. He's a fucking racist, girl. Yeah, beat his ass. He's a racist. Jim Bob's racist. No, he's racist. You see, making excuses for these motherfuckers and end up with your head and your brain cut out like in Get Out, bitch. End up in the middle of desert like in Opus, eating fucking spit bread that 25 other people bit off of because you kept making excuses for these motherfuckers. No, like the escalation of Opus, like how it just kept escalating and escalating and escalating. And it didn't happen quick. It was just these little things to test her and test her and test her to keep seeing if she would be okay with make excuses and not do something extreme like try to run to the fence and hop that motherfucker. They just kept doing shit. And I'm just like, that's why I need to clock it from jump. I need to clock it from fucking, you know what I do to help train my brain to clock red flags from jump? Because people take dating apps personally and shit. I don't take that shit personally. That's a video game to me. What I do is basically how I practice being able to set boundaries is I use the dating apps because you don't have to interact with people. So basically, if the niggas need to be attractive to me. They need to have a bio. They need to be around my age. They need to be my height or taller. They need to have their job listed. They need to have, if they have kids, listed. They need to have some type of spirituality. Like I've swiped left on atheists because I just feel like I'm spiritual. I need you to be spiritual. That's all it is. I ain't got nothing against atheists. I just need you to believe in something outside of yourself like I do. They need to be liberal. We can't have moderate or conservative at this point in time. So if any of it is missing, even one thing, like no bio, I will swipe left. And doing that has helped me to practice setting boundaries immediately if I don't like something. I've swiped left so many times on that motherfucker. I ain't been on a date since 2021, nigga. What do you want me to do? No, you want me? I'm not about to be stressed out. Why aren't you putting your height? Why aren't you putting where you work? Honey, I can't control your money. If you tell me where you work, if you put where you work or what you do on your profile and you start talking to a bitch and all the bitch want to do is talk about what you do for work and your money, or you learn through the course of experiencing the bitch that all she cares about is your money, well, what you do next is you stop talking to the bitch. Like, I don't understand. Like, are you that scared of? I don't understand what you're scared of as far as not putting what you do. Because I would like to buy a house with my future husband. And so I need to know what you do off top so I can know if you make enough money. So if this grows, we can buy a house together and travel and have babies. If I don't know that starting off, I don't want to talk to you. Because if you're not insecure about that shit, what else are you going to be insecure about? Toxically insecure about? That shit is toxic. It's not that big of a fucking deal. You are in control of how you interact with people and how people interact with you, love. You are in control of that. So you putting what you do for work on your dating profile is not going to cause you harm unless you invite a motherfucker in your life to use it against you to cause you harm. Why aren't you putting if you have kids? Why wouldn't you give people a choice? See, that just lets me know that you don't want to give people a choice to talk to you. You want to force them into, like, I've been forced into conversations with niggas that We halfway through the week of talking, they tell me they're 5'5". So you was up here taking tall nigga pictures and shit the whole fucking time. And I had to end that conversation, and I was like, you know what, never again. If they don't put their height, then it doesn't. And yeah, they could lie and you end up on a first date, but 9 times out of 10, they ain't gonna lie. They ain't gonna lie. Or you can figure it out like in their pictures and measuring the shit they standing next to or some shit. But like it's better starting that way than starting with no height listed at all. That's what I've learned. Like I'm so smooth with it. Girl, this nigga popped up on my shit yesterday and he was fine. He was 40, had a good job. He was 6'3". He was bald. He had muscles. It was magical. He was light skinned. I was just like, okay. And then I scrolled down. That nigga was a conservative. Shit. And I felt that pick me bitch rise up in the back of my head talking about, well, maybe. maybe we could. I'm not talking this motherfucker out of shit, bitch. Shut up. Well, maybe he just put that, but maybe he's not like a Trump supporter conservative. Then why would you put that, bitch? You know, I be having conversations with myself. And then I just like, by the third, maybe I swipe left immediately without even thinking about it. Because if I let the maybes go on, I would have swiped right. And it's always the niggas that got some severely wrong shit with them that you can tell got some severely wrong shit with them that match with you. It's never like the niggas that got their shit together and is attractive and look, seems emotionally stable. They never match with me. Like, it's always the nigga that is kind of ugly, but like if you squint, it's not that bad. So maybe if I swipe right, or the nigga that like didn't put, like if he had kids but he put everything else. So maybe, girl, it's a work in progress. So maybe, and then like them is the niggas that always match with you and your instincts when you first saw the thing that was missing on their profile was right. And you should have listened to your fucking instincts. And I've never had a moment yet, I'll say yet, you don't know what the future may hold, where my instincts weren't right. And I was just giving this motherfucker a chance because the world is telling me that I need to be nicer. And the thing is that setting boundaries and rejecting somebody isn't mean. It just lets them know that your path forks here, love, and this is not the path of the fork that you need to go down. You need to go down the other path of the fork. Someone else is made for this path. That's what that is. Yes, it's not mean. I'm glad them forks in the road came along at this point, because from what I've observed of the paths that I, wanted to go down, the lives that they're living now is not amiable to the life that I would like to be living right now. So, so no, practicing just swiping left helps, so that when I go out in the real world, that neural network, that habit that I built in real life has built a neural network that makes it very easy to set boundaries. It's a knee-jerk reaction now. That's what the neural network is. That's what it builds a knee-jerk reaction in your brain to respond this way when you're triggered that way. So in mid-conversation, you're telling me that you're a security guard. I'm like, that's beautiful, love, that you are a security guard and 43 years old. And all of our lives differ in various different ways. This is me thinking. I'm not going to say it because it's condescending to say it out loud to people. That's what I had to learn because it's mean. Neurodivergency will teach you things. And there's nothing wrong with being a security guard, love. And, at 43, that's a 21-year-old's job. I don't care what you're talking about, but sometimes people be going through stuff in their life, and I can't judge the journey that they're on. But see how the fork in the road is forming, because the journey that you're on is leading you down a path that I don't want to go. So With that statement, it has let me know we are not compatible in the romantic arena. We could be friends though, platonic friends that never touch. Maybe a handshake or a hug, you know. But no, like I can't. You gotta know. You gotta be able to, because niggas like this, like Mac, will come into your life seeming like a normal dorky white nigga with normal dorky white intentions, and you'll just be like, oh look, he's a nice guy, you know, he does things and says stuff and seems interesting and shit, and you'll be going out for about 2-3 months and things seem normal and regular, and you know, he did a little microaggression, you had to cuss him out and he figured it out, and so you were like, oh, you know, he figured it the fuck out, like that's nice. And then he didn't do one again during the duration of those 2 or 3 months. And then he wants you to meet his fucking friends. And you see the mental institution that his friends are. And you know, was this a bait and switch? Like, is he not aware that his friend over here seems to have sociopathic intentions? Is he not aware of this white bitch he's sitting next to that is, you know, she's looking at me crazy and she keeps trying to like be aggressive? Like, is he not aware of this? Why is this old man here? And why does he smell funny? And then this sweetheart over here, like, I think he got some type of delay. I ain't even got shit to say about this motherfucker. Just, I don't know. Does he want to play Uno or some shit? I'll play Uno with this one while y'all figure it out. Because now I'm trying to think of an escape plan of how to get out. Because now it's been 3 months. This nigga knows where I live. No, you are your 5 closest friends. And I did not see the worst of him yet, and so see, it's the dorky regular looking ones that get you through the door, and then next thing you know, you ain't get out, bitch. You're not listening to what I'm saying. That's why you got to be observant and pay attention and notice how people treat themselves and other people, because based off of how that's the pattern of their behavior, and based off of that, you'll know what will happen if you trigger them enough. It's not foolproof. It's not 100%. We got Oscar-winning performing niggas out here, but I promise you, the statistics on you not wasting your time, on you being alive, on you going off into the sunset with somebody else and finding a different fork in the road, the statistics of that happening goes up versus you not doing anything and not looking out for yourself at all and shit. And now, like, you at 25% chance that you might get out of this shit, you know, healthy and alive and well and shit, bitch. Whereas if you have been monitoring the shit and observing the shit and not being in denial about what you're seeing, you could have been at 75% chance of getting out this motherfucker alive and well and healthy and shit, bitch. Like, I can't date white man. I can't. No, that shit. That is the fear. You will meet a normal, regular ass white motherfucker presenting, and then like he gonna open the door to some horror show when you meet his family or his friends or some shit like that, and then you gonna end up dead. I watch a lot of true crimes. And that's how them true crimes be happening and shit. Then you gonna end up dead. You gonna end up dead. Just like that woman that had all white friends and went to that sleepover and ended up at the bottom of a balcony, and nobody at the sleepover knows what happens. Nobody knows what happened. Nobody got arrested. Nobody was charged with anything. She just ended up nobody in her family said she was suicidal or depressed or had mental health issues or nothing. And girl, That probably was her best friend since elementary school or some shit. She probably trusted them from the rooter to the tutor. She trusted them and ended up at the bottom of a balcony. I just feel like I can't be with no white man. I'm not attracted to white men. I just, physically, it doesn't happen for me. Mentally, I just start thinking of all these various different scenarios that by the end of them scenarios, I just don't feel nothing but platonic friendliness for you. Like, oh, you're nice. That's nice. Precious. No, I don't want to touch you. Like, yeah. And I don't know if that's bad. I just, I get to decide what goes into my vagina. So, like, that doesn't mean I can't be your friend. I can't be your acquaintance, though. Like, like, I'm going to treat you like a human being because I see the humanity in people. That's how I ended up in abusive relationships and shit, seeing, humanity over what was actually being shown to me, the behaviors that were actually being shown to me. I was looking at the inner child and the humanity and the kindness that was underneath all the layers of evil. So yeah, I treat everybody like a human being. Like, I just have an alarm in the back of my head that will go off if you show me any signs of you got some shit going on that could cause me harm. Now, will you know that the alarm went off? It depends on how severe it is. Now, if it's like I'm in fear of my life or you're being aggressive, you will know that the alarm is going off. If it's like some slight microaggression or some shit like that, the alarm will go off a little bit. I might check you and be like, yeah, that ain't it, girl. We don't do that. And then based off how you respond to that, then we can proceed, or we can just, let's separate. See, that's all it is. It's about respecting people as human beings and, respecting people's boundaries and, not trying to force people to be something that makes you feel more comfortable. If they make you feel uncomfortable to the point where it's like you feel like you want to make them do anything, you don't need to be around them. You don't need to be around them because obviously you've probably already talked to them about it and they're still doing the thing. So you don't need to be around them then. I'm not going to make you do it. I'm not going to mold you into shit. If you want to do it, you'll do it. If you don't, then you ain't going to have me here. You can still do what you want to do though, nigga. Like, hey, I should do it me, love. No, like, I ain't making people do shit. But I have expectations for people that I do invite into my personal circle. And so if you want to act the type of way, then you don't belong there. It is what it is. As far as acquaintances and fun friendships and shit like that, like, I don't have that many requirements. Just respect me. Respect my authority. Like, no, I mean, just respect me as a human being. Respect me as a human fucking being. And have a good time. Know how to have a good time. And be chill. And not like toxically insecure and jealous and weird and shit. Just be chill. Like, sometimes we can hang out and like get some drinks and read a book. And sometimes we can go to Disneyland and shit and travel. Like, be chill. Like, and then sometimes we vent about shit that happened in our lives and we just venting and talking shit and being sad and all that other stuff. But like, not all the time. Cause that's a lot, not all the time, but sometimes we can dance around the table like in Waiting to Exhale with a glass of wine and shit. Magical. Just be chill. Just be fucking chill. Chill fuck out. Like, let me be me. I'll let you be you. And it's cool. Like, we respect each other's boundaries and shit. Like, what's the problem? Like, what is the problem? See? People be acting like you asking like for a lot when you say that I will walk the fuck away from you if you mistreat me. Well, you just asking them motherfuckers to be chill and not be overthinking stuff and just hang out. Like, fuck's the problem? But anyways, I'm gonna get off of here. This probably shouldn't have lasted this long, but I had time for stuff to settle in. I had to record it twice, so I'm just chilling, and it's just But no, like this is a good episode because it highlights white superiority and how they feel superior to everyone else around them and how they feel like they're the only ones in the room and everyone else is just extras to be maneuvered and moved around like furniture. And you know, they can destroy things and break stuff and traumatize children and and everybody will just laugh it off because that's what white supremacy has taught us to do. Oh, they took the pipes out the bathroom. Oh, they like followed the kid into the bathroom and was saying weird shit and suggestive shit. Oh, okay. Oh, I know, and it's fun. It is funny. Like, it's not that I don't laugh. I laugh at the stupidity of it all. Like, these motherfuckers are stupid. I laugh at Danny DeVito. No, y'all didn't know Danny DeVito in the 90s and shit. Like the way he plays his character, it just feels like he's old and he's just doing shit. And I believe it. It's believable. Like, he's just chilling. Like, he's just old and he's just doing nasty, dirty shit just cause. But it's like believable because in the 90s, like, you know, there were more the characters' development and shit was more fleshed out in some of his movies and shit. There were more layers to the character besides impulsive and dirty and shit. So to watch him, like, you know, it's just weird. It's weird. And I know he's been on the show for 17 years, but I didn't start watching It's Always Sunny till like a year ago and shit. Because somebody said it was like racist and fucked up. And I was like, oh, let me watch it. And I want to see what's racist about it. Because it got 17, you know, seasons. So, I mean, it makes sense why people would keep some shit going that was racist and fucked up for 17 seasons and shit. Let me shut up. But like when I would see like clips of this show before I started watching it and see Danny DeVito acting like that, I'll be like, it just feels weird. Like, because when you grew up with him in the 90s and early, this nigga was on Matilda and shit. Like, he was a fucking child abuser, but there was layers to that character. This nigga is just dirty and impulsive, and he's just doing shit. Like, and it's believable because he's a good actor. So I'm not saying it's lazy or anything, or it's just weird. It's weird to see him acting like that. Like, the closest thing I would say to it would be the Penguin, but like, even that had layers to the character and shit. Like, that nigga went through some shit and he was like, he was dirty, but that wasn't all the character was about. So like, just to see him like this, it's just, that's why I don't want to believe. I do not want to believe that this motherfucker would be on some shit that actively is going against like people. And I just really want to believe this is satire and he is telling us about his people. This is a warning. Cause no, you're not gonna make me hate Danny DeVito. What are you talking about? You're not gonna make me hate Danny DeVito, love. Like, I need to find out some just heinous fucking shit about that motherfucker, and then I'll just be so disappointed, and I'll have to like grieve and shit. Like, oh God, why would this nigga? You know, he got him and his little wife from Cheers and shit. Like why would you? Why are these motherfuckers getting old and ruining our childhoods? That's just, I guess that's another lesson in letting go. You know, that's why we cannot pedestalize people, and we are going to see worser in the days to come that will help us release the chains that we have attached to pedestalizing these celebrities and other things that keep us attached to only one way of looking at the world instead of the broad rainbow of what the world actually is and shit. And so, you know what? God, I really hope Danny DeVito's not some fucking weirdo shit. In real, oh God. I still don't want it to be, but if it is, God hope it's not, but if it is, I will survive. It will. I'm getting closer and closer to not watching the Harry Potter HBO series. I am. I really am. Every day this bitch do something new. Now the money from the show will go directly to the laws in England to stop the trans people from being alive and living and being free. And I'm tired. It's like you in a daze. Some shit like we dissociating and shit. Like just be staring off into space and I just need my little trinkets and my little toys and I just need my little trinkets and my little toys and my little books and my little video games. Cause girl, you know how traumatizing this is, and then every day you have to rework yourself and recenter your nervous system every fucking day. Like that's not how life should be. You should not have to recenter your nervous system every fucking day because some catastrophe is happening in the world every time you wake up every morning. Cause y'all pedestalize narcissistic behaviors so much that now we got one at the very top leading the country and shit. And every fucking day is some new shit. And I'm tired. I just can't now you can't watch Harry Potter and shit, nigga. Like that bitch is the fucking devil. She really did the biggest bait and switch in all of history. I don't care what the fuck you're talking about. That's what it feels like. It's probably been one for every century, you know. Let me shut the fuck up. But like that bitch bait and switch so motherfucking hard. And niggas is having meltdowns at the mere thought of not involving themselves with anything to do with Harry Potter even slightly. Niggas is having whole fucking nervous system melt fucking downs, and that is some type of brainwashing and some type of control, and I need to detach myself from it because I don't like people controlling me. That's how my brain works. You see, it was out loud. Y'all saw that in real time. See, I said I'm slowly getting closer and closer to letting that shit go. I am. It's a work in progress, y'all. Every day, it's like a workout. No, because the uncomfortability, the neurodivergent uncomfortability of going near something that feels wrong is growing stronger and stronger around that topic. And so, you know, it'll probably get there. I'll probably watch one episode though, but if it's good though, oh God. See, now we backsliding. See, it's a tug of war. It's a tug of wars. I'll figure it out. You know, I don't want to be brainwashed. I want to be like fully coherent when the apocalypse comes. Let me get the fuck off of this. I hope you enjoyed this recording of Black Girl, Therapist in the Wild, and Therapist Tips and Reviews, and It's Always Sunny, and Abbott Elementaries. And, you know, I hope that y'all detach yourself from idols that only make you see one part of the story and you missing out on the rest of the shit. And like it makes you blind to like danger and shit that's coming your way, and also blind to creativity and the ways that you could grow if you got up off this motherfucker's dick and like went out into the fucking world and looked at some trees and shit. It's the truth. Shit, it's the truth. The fuck? I hope you enjoyed this review. Later days.